and good morning, everyone. SpenVentures here. We are in High Springs, Florida, just right down the road from where I'm staying at my friend's house in Alachua. Today, we decided to come to the High Springs Historical Society Museum. And now, since I am a big fan of trains and the railroad and railroad history, we decided to come on out here to High Springs. They have a lot of railroad history here from the Atlantic coastline that was in the 1800s and into the 1900s, as well as memorabilia, equipment, stuff that was used on the railroad back when the railroad was very rapidly growing in the High Springs, Gainesville, Alachua area. Most importantly, Alachua County. So, we're going to go ahead and head on inside, and joining me on this SpenVenture, shall you? Not really slam it that hard, but as you walk in, you see giant nutcrackers from, looks like soccer, High Springs soccer team. That's nutcrackers over here. See, museum open today. Let's see what there is to see in the museum.
They put the message on the loop, and then they just kind of snag it as they move by.
Oh, wow. You gotta be quick, I guess.
Yeah, hey. Alright, so there's a lot of trains. Train artifacts, train memorabilia. Nice museum in here. Of course, you got runs into the Civil War, the Battle of Pensacola, as well.
Speed record,
Oh, okay.
which I think was 70 miles an hour.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know.
Wow. See the High Springs brochure. I'll take one of those as well before I come out.
Savannah is 172 miles in 152 minutes, so 70.7 miles an hour.
As you can see, it's more of a...
Going that fast on the normal location. That was a special.
Here's the roundhouse. The roundhouse. All the trains with the turntable of what it once was. And look, there's a train coming now. Going down through High Springs. There's a railroad. There's 15 days for the roundhouse. Of course, this was the old High Springs. This is the old Main Street, really. You know, Main Street used for different shops and bookstores, dry goods. There's a grocery store, the laundromats, barber shop to get haircuts, jewelry store, dime store, and another grocery store. One small little Amoco gas station along the main street. Of course, the railroad ran right through the heart of, see the water tower, there it is. See the water tower up there, right through the heart of High Springs. As well. More or less of a small town, but it was a bustling town back in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, as non-stop trains would come in and out of High Springs. See these people working on the railroad. See down the railroad track there. See all it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very loud. There's of course here, for the Atlantic coastline, you get the steam locomotive. This was in the rear of the High Springs Rail Yard in 1950s. This one was a coastline engine 252 with the 4 wheels in the front, the 6 wheels, three wheels on one side, 3 wheels on the other. That's a 6, and then no wheels on the back. That's called a 460, which means there are 4 driving wheels, 4 front wheels, 6 driving wheels, and no wheels on the back of the locomotive engine. So we move on forward. This is the main street through the years. See, there's the Amoco gas station we just saw on the display a few moments ago. Well, this is down. Also down with the golf garage, which is like a car shop, and cars would be fixed inside there. Well, on Main Street as well. Of course, down there, this is one that I kind of enjoy. Is the first ever African American train conductor in High Springs was this man named Albert Davis Jr. from 1924 to 1982. First African American train conductor, and worked right here. There he is. He worked and drove the train. There's one of the Atlantic coastline conductors, possibly grandfather of William Roberts. More some train, just pictures of trains everywhere. The application of rates is kind of how the timeline of each train from each railway. So you got the Kansas City Southern Railway, the Midland Valley, and Louisiana Arkansas, all the way from number 1481, and it says in different groups, so that they would know by each group which train was going where. Alright, so you can see behind me, we have different things from the local high school here of High Springs High School, and the diplomas and the people that graduated in the year of 1942. All these people right here. So as you can see, right here, all the list of people that graduated in 1942, a long time ago. And also, in 1895, the Opera House, as well, became an archaeological firm, sent young associates out on the railroad lines. Like I said, Alachua County, the city of High Springs, was a hopping railroad town. A lot of railroad history, train history, and a lot of people from High Springs were sort of kind of forced to work on the railroad because it was a railroad town. Art, songs, and classical music. This is more about the Opera House and more of the classic music shows from the high school. Like I said, High Springs High School. Go into the Opera House, performing arts, in a performing arts period, if not working for the railroad. That's a lot of what the women did back in the 1900s, was the Opera House, while the men went to work on the railroad. There we go. Alright, so you can see behind me, there's just a bunch of pictures from the 1800s into the 1900s, pictures of the railroad and how it evolved through the years, and the different trains that came through here. Like I said, the Atlantic coastline, the Florida Gulf Coast, traveled through here as well, from the west to the east and the east to the west side of the Sunshine State of Florida. You can see, there we go. Now you can see kind of what these are and how they evolved. And this one's on the roundhouse table. Now the roundhouse is what trains would that would be put away, to go to bed for the night, really. But in the morning, early morning, so like 4 a.m., they would be brought out to be put on the turntable to change the different track of where their destination is going to take them that day. Now trains don't ever rest, really. They only go into the roundhouse for just either a repair or some maintenance needed to be done on the railroad before it's taken out again onto the turntable like this one right here. This is the turntable, and it turns the train around to the different track to where the destination of that engine needs to go. This one is on the High Springs Rail Yard in 1950. It's visible in the background right behind the engine. You can kind of see it right there. That's the roundhouse. The roundhouse, very similar to the one that is being brought out this way right there. There's the roundhouse. Kind of what it would look like if it was still being used today. Now the turntable, right there in the middle, it turned 90 degrees. All the way 90 degrees. And then it would turn back around. See that little box right there? That's where the operator of the turntable that's how you would operate the turntable. So down here would be the switcher, where you would have one guy would pull out the lever and switch the track to where the train is supposed to go on the right side of track. Of course, you would also have trains coming from the opposite direction. And here you would have just one of the rail beams from the old rail line, as well as the plate that were, see the spikes down there, railroad spikes, that was used to hold the rail in place so it wouldn't move around as the train went across it. All these up here, of course, like I said, I went over the old station, went over most of these for different, what the stations looked like and the rail lines looked like back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Cool little museum here. Yeah, like somebody's trying to fix a steam engine on the track here. Put it together. Chesapeake in Ohio. Oh. Here, there's the logging mess hall. We got an old car shed. Labels here. Chesapeake in Ohio Railroad. Yeah, Thomas. Yeah. Train coming up. There goes the Chesapeake in Ohio. Oh. There it goes. Alright, so we've made it through the first part of our tour at High Springs with the Railroad Museum and what it was like back in the 1800s and 1900s. We are actually right close to Main Street, but before we leave High Springs to go on to our next stop, we decided to come along to the Seaboard coastline. They have a replica red caboose. So you can see on the here. There it is. We're going to take a look at this old red caboose. Do not climb on caboose. Oh no. Yeah, and it's roped off, but this is old Seaboard coastline caboose. We'll just go generic here. As you can see, up at the watchtower, this was the watchtower up top, right here. That's where the conductor would sit, up top to look over to see if there was any danger on the track ahead of the engineer, who was at the front of the train driving the train. And also, it's kind of like a hotel on wheels for the conductor, or the fireman, not the conductor, the fireman. Fireman would be at top, sitting at the watchtower, looking over to see any danger on the track ahead of the locomotive. That way they can radio, they each had a radio the locomotive engineer. He would radio the locomotive engineer to know if there's any danger on the track that would be going ahead, and would be able to slow the train down in time so it would not run over any objects, animals, or possibly people that would be on the tracks if train was coming. Now, the animals, give or take there, but don't ever be on the railroad tracks. Not even if it's active tracks or no longer active tracks, because you never know what could be on the tracks that's coming your way. It's very dangerous and illegal.